Click the link in the description for your free AMSOIL catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The Bridge Street Garage Racing Team, the house racing team of the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be your advertising message. Good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here tonight. I have a robust lineup of Vintage Snowmobile entertainment on tap for you tonight. We have Jim Smith waiting in the green room for us. We're going to get to him in just a moment. We're also at about 30 minutes past the hour. We're going to have Rob the Oil Guy come on. He's an AMSOIL dealer, and he's going to have a trivia question for us tonight. And there will be winners who will be winning AMSOIL hats. So we have that to look forward to. Then item number 3, we have some announcements. And number 4, we're going to open things up for some open line show and tell. So if you have something vintage related that you would like to share with all of the viewers here, I'm going to have the ability to bring you on with your cell phone to be able to share that with us. And I'll get into some more details on how to do that later in the program. And then, of course, last but not least, we've got some footage that was shared with us by Dirk Siems from the Elk River, Minnesota Vintage Snowmobile Show. We'll be looking at that as well. So before we get into all of that, I want to just check the comments real quick. If you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to make a comment. Let me know where you're viewing this from and whether or not you are a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. Now, to our first-time viewers, I thank you so much for checking us out. I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope that you decide to join us here each and every week, every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We simulcast this podcast to 8 different places, so wherever you're viewing this, please join us here every Thursday night at this time and join in the fun. Also, to our regular viewers who are here week after week after week after week, thank you so much. You guys are the ones that make this possible, and I just cannot thank you enough for that. Let's take a few comments here, and then we're going to bring Jim on. Let's see. We've got Roger Cormier, regular viewer from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Looking forward to tonight's show, and I appreciate that. Our dear friend Judy Rinaldi, an inductee into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame, watching from Warner's, says, keep up the good work. And I thank you for that compliment, Judy. Our good friend John Spranger Jr., regular viewer, says, awesome job covering the vintage show in Lancaster this past Saturday. And thank you. I appreciate that compliment. And that was a wonderful show for anyone who was there, either in person or watching it virtually on Facebook and YouTube. Cliff Anderson from Afton, Minnesota is on tonight. He's a regular viewer. Also, Peter Chappell from Central New York. Thank you for being on. Brian Corbin enjoys the podcast and says hello from mid-Michigan. Alden Banks, regular viewer, loud and clear, he says. And I'm going to take one more, but I'll continue to pop the comments on the screen as we go. But I don't want to keep our guests waiting any longer. One more comment here. Our good friend Armin Buteau from Pittsburgh, New Hampshire is in the house tonight. Thank you, Armin, for coming on. Great to see you on here. Let's switch gears here. We're going to bring our guest on. I'd like to introduce you to Jim Smith. Jim is out west in Oregon, and he's been involved in racing and vintage snowmobiles for many, many years. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Well, good. Thank you so much for coming on. So I'm going to turn it on to you. We've got a slideshow that we prepared while we were chatting about this. I'm going to start showing some slides, but before we do, our mutual friend Josh Gilbert needs to be given some credit because he's the one who introduced us and made this all happen. So a good shout out to our mutual friend Josh Gilbert, and he's a regular viewer here too, and he's been a guest on the podcast as well.
Thanks. Good luck racing this weekend too.
Oh yes, yeah. Good luck, Josh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure, absolutely. Well,
yep,
cool.
He's right now.
Good. Do you know anything about the race? Any details about any of that?
Yeah, this is the second of 3 at the Priest Lake site that they race it. That's near Coolin, near Nordman, up out of the Spokane area, about an hour 20 minutes out of Spokane, north of there. And the folks are at the Priest Lake, Idaho, are doing a fantastic job. They race on an old airstrip that's owned by the Forest Service. It's in use today, but of course they don't do anything with it in the wintertime. So they've been permitted and allowed to create an oval track on one end, and then where they would normally be taxiing and parking all the planes, that's where they do the pits and the parking for all the spectators. It's a grand event. You may have seen some of the aerial shots of that race. I try to post as many as I can, also on the Western Beach page.
Speaking of posting, I'm going to jump ahead a few slides. You are the creator and admin of the Western Vintage Snowmobile Racing Facebook group.
Yes. And, I started that about, I think it's 7 years ago now. I've always been a collector of odds and ends and photographs from all the years of racing that I've been doing. And I thought, with this advent of Facebook, what a great way to share all the stuff that I've had. Since then, we've gotten over right near 4,000 members to the group. And they share their racing photos from around the West Coast. I wasn't at all the races way back. Early 72s is when I started. But it was just something to get current model stuff. Now that vintage has been going strong for the last 5 or 8 years, at least out west here, I figured this was a good thing to have.
For sure. And for anyone who is curious about that, there is a link in the description. And I'll kick things off here with the first slide so we can get started with this. Tell us what we're looking at here.
Yeah, this was my first race back in 1972. I'm on the far left, next to those people that are standing there. I'm leaning back, looking really cool.
Yeah, striking a pose
on my 7399 Panther with a Kohler.
Nice.
And, racing against some of that other stuff. Yeah, I was somebody.
Nice. Is that experience what gave you the bug for all of this?
It did. Yeah, this will be my 50th year at the racetrack.
That's amazing.
1972. I thought I could do this. I didn't do very well in that race. It's just a lineup for a drag race.
Sure.
Back then, and then I started oval racing, and that got me hooked. So.
No turning back after that.
Yeah, that's an old one. I'd forgotten I sent that to you.
For sure.
Yeah, there's a Magnum I'm racing against. Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's kind of classified them back then.
Sure. Well, let's see. So here are some of the sleds that you've raced over the years. Do you want to comment on some of this? Or?
Yeah, the TNT, that was the first number 12. And that number 12 came about. My dad, when he was in the military, he was part of a stock car race team that he wrenched on. And the number of that car was number 12. And then we started racing snowmobiles. He said, we're putting a number 12 on it. And I've been number 12 ever since.
Nice.
And that's a few of the sleds through the years that I put the number 12 on.
Good. And then there's some more. Mostly Polaris over the years?
Pretty much a Polaris guy, yeah. I think I bought my first snowmobile I bought in 76.
Yeah.
That was a Starfire 250. And I just like the Polaris ever since. And
is that the TX in the lower right there?
No, that's one of the race sleds I built several years ago. I've since sold it. It's up there racing still.
Is it that upper left?
There it is. That's the upper left. Yeah, I did a little hood modification on it.
Yes, yeah. Opened it up a little.
It did. Out of the box, I won the first couple of races with it. I beat the Mercs, and then once the Mercs got it dialed in, I never won a race with it again.
Sure. Yeah, they were hard to beat then and now. Those Mercs.
Tough to beat, but out of the box, I got them. But after that, it was over.
Nice.
Yeah, that lower left, that was
sorry. Go ahead.
That's Eagle River 94.
94.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
with the Independence. Oh, you crashed it?
Yeah, I crashed it.
Sure. So, now,
how
the as things started to evolve into the independent front suspensions and rear suspensions too, of course, how was that for you as a racer? Were you enjoying that, or was what was your take on the evolution of that?
That was it was almost, I would say, out of grasp for me. I couldn't quite comprehend the whole thing. I was more of a rider than I was a mechanic, and so the geometry and all that IFS stuff really kind of baffled me. Wasn't quite sure how. I rode some and raced some. I never won with any, but they were so fast. Sure. I just wasn't a big horse-powered guy racer. I kind of like those middle classes. It seemed like I had more control with that.
Yeah.
Here I am racing F3 at the World Championship. What's that tell you? So
Sure. Now, did that create that much more complexity trying to dial in a sled with all of these, with more levels of adjustment with the independent?
Oh yeah. The faster you want to go, the more complex it got, the harder it got, the more time it took, the more physical it took. It took all those things. Yeah.
So the engineers really had to step up their game to dial in the sleds. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And then here are some action photos. Any comments on these? Or?
Up at Priest Lake. Yep.
Sure. Nice.
By then I was racing the Masters class,
you
know, on these here. So I won a couple of them, broke down a couple of them, had some skis fall off, burn a couple down.
Sure.
All the normal stuff you go through when you're racing.
The thrills and the spills.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, there's some throwbacks. That was probably one of my favorite race sleds, was that Mercury right there. That sled at the time, neither one of those were mine. But the Merc, I own that one now today.
Oh, you do? Yes.
That was probably one of the funnest sleds to race. Those things I really liked handling. I could get off on those. The 78 Moto Ski on the left, that one was fun. That was a real good friend of ours that kind of let everybody race it. Back then, I don't know why, for some reason, if you just needed a ride, you could ride somebody's sled. I did that a lot. I probably wore on some of them. So
that's cool. Yeah, it seems. Then this is the graphic for the Facebook group we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And then before we go ahead, I'm sorry.
There.
Before we switch into the next topic of the VSCA events, did you have any more on what we've just been looking at, or?
No, that's enough of my racing stuff. Everybody doesn't need to hear that. Most people know it that I'm racing with, but
sure.
It was about in I think it was 2007. the Western States Vintage Snowmobile Association formed. We were kind of what we wanted to be was, and I think it worked out for the most part, just an organization that helped bring all the 4 or 5 Western clubs we had at that time together. And then we were approached by Mike Mager at BSCA to host this new National Vintage Snowmobile Show. So we were at a local show in Salt Lake, and we sat down, had a meeting, and threw some numbers around, and we decided that, yeah, we could do this, host one of the events, because it went from Midwest to the East, out to the West, back to the Midwest, out to the East. Everybody knows this now.
Yeah.
So we did that. We chose Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to host our first attempt at it, and it went real well.
Nice, yeah.
Fairgrounds there. So quickly learned that the vintage snowmobile world in the West was not near as big as it is elsewhere.
Sure.
But we were on the bottom floor of helping getting it going.
Good.
And I would say we're past the heyday, but after the Coeur d'Alene show, then we did it again in 2011. We went to Billings, the Billings Snowmobile Show, Billings, Montana. What we wanted to do there, our main purpose was to get the Western show a little bit closer to I-90, make it a little easier for those to come out from the Midwest, or fly in. And several did.
Good.
Billings show was a good one. We had a nice location for that. Had a really good turnout.
Good.
But still not the amount of spectators that you would think it would be at something like that.
Yeah.
So after that one, 3 years later, then we did 2014 at West Yellowstone. We were having vintage shows at Yellowstone already during the World Expo.
Mm-hmm.
So we all put our heads together out in the West here. And thanks to the great leadership by our past president, Perry Hessness, we got the national show at Yellowstone. And that was a really good event. That turned out real well. I think it was the first national show that was actually on snow.
Snow, nice.
Posting that. So.
And so that's go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mike's covers of the magazine, which I think I'm labeled in the description, by the way, Mike. I have to check those numbers for me.
Yeah. Mike does a really nice magazine.
Yes, he does.
In fact, I was on the phone with him this morning. He said he's putting together the next issue, so that it should be coming out very soon.
Yeah. I think he dropped me a note the other day. He said, "Hey, he's looking for a story for the racing up in Priest Lake." So,
good.
So we'll see if we can get him something.
Nice. In fact, I'm going to do a shameless plug here for Mike real quick because he's a good mutual friend of ours. I've got a graphic here. Trying to find the graphic right here. Here we go. So if you're curious about this magazine that Mike Mahar does that we've just been talking about, it's a quarterly magazine and good, heavy, glossy paper. Really nice. It's the reference for the vintage snowmobile hobby. And if you're all curious about this, I encourage you to subscribe to that. It's an excellent magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, back on to what we were talking about. Now, I think these are some images from some of these VSCA shows that you were just talking about. Yeah,
there's the Arctic Cat Twin Track. That's at the Billings show in 2011. That's the below. That's the Jim Noble Thunderjet.
Mm-hmm.
One of our late great president of the Antique Snowmobile Club from Wyoming owned that sled. Tony Sirkovich.
Yeah. And
then there's Midnight Oil, the speed run sled Mercury from way back. That's at Yellowstone in 2014.
Okay.
And that's Dwayne Eck on the Double Eagle. That's at Yellowstone also in 2014.
Yeah, nice. Very cool. Yeah. Are we ready for the next slide? Or?
Sure.
All right. Let me just switch. Here we go. Cool. And I'm popping comments on the screen too as we're looking at these.
Oh, yes, I see those. That's some of the. There's a national show. Dan, the one on the lower left, that's Perry, our president, with the national champion that year. That's in Coeur d'Alene, 2008. Dan, I can't remember Dan's last name. Anyway, it was from Kansas of all places.
Wow, yeah. Nice trophy there too.
Yeah, that was a nice one. I remember talking to Mike about that. I thought there was some national big giant trophy that everybody shared, the champion from each show that passed it around, but that's not what happened. So we got to choose our own trophy. We made it kind of big.
Yeah, nice.
The upper right, that's a couple of the Arcan sled replicas. I think one of them was actually an original, built by one of our original president of the Pacific Northwest Vintage Snowmobile Club, Arthur Bonifant. He's has since passed, but those were his creations. On the top left, that's the mongrel from the mongrel and the Ridgeway Special from the Snowball Express movie that everybody has seen, I'm sure. If not,
yeah, I remember that from back in the day.
You're not a vintage guy if you haven't seen that movie.
It's true.
So, those were created by Dustin Sweden. Dustin's the current president of the Western States Vintage Snowmobile Association. So those get to come out every now and then, and they run and they have a good time with those.
And it's nice to see that those sleds from that movie are still around and that those are in people's collections and people are enjoying them and people bring them to shows. Do you know anything about the sleds or who owns them or any of those details? Or
yeah, Dustin Sweden owns them. He spent a lot of time talking with the original star of that movie, Dean Jones, back in the day. Excuse me.
Sure.
And Dean, of course, being an actor, wasn't a snowmobile builder, so he didn't know a whole lot about them, other than the fact that he did ride them, rode them both, whether or not they made the final cut or not. So he knew that much about them. Actually, what they were and how they were built, not a whole lot. But he was able to help Dustin in remembering certain things and certain items, like the seat on the mongrel. It's just kind of a pillow with a comforter thing over it. It's basically all it was.
Yeah, it's kind of a green looking thing, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Plum Pharmacy, I think is what that says on there. The image is a little here.
And he must have had good memories from the movie, the making of that movie, to share.
Yeah, was that in the Breckenridge, Colorado area where that was done? I believe so.
I think so. I almost think I've heard that. Yeah.
Or near there. So anyway, and then the bottom right, there's a Larry Preston there, Milt Schmidt, and Warner. Yeah, can't remember which one that is. One of the Warner boys. So
good.
Anyhow, yeah. I'm not doing a whole lot of vintage shows now, just because time and things change and moving along, and not just me, but same with other people. So
yeah,
it's still vibrant. Maybe not so much in the West, but it's still vibrant, still growing.
Sure. I think COVID may throw a twist into it a little bit too, I'm sure.
Yeah, the expo at Yellowstone, which ran for 25 plus years, it was kind of on its last legs anyway. And we were doing shows there. But then when COVID hit, then that was the end of that. In fact, I didn't even reach at all there last year. Sure.
And then were you telling me that you had a Polaris that you sold to the Bob Eastman family?
Well, I did. I had a 73 Starfire 650 that didn't, unbeknownst to me at the time, was actually an 800.
Oh, yeah.
And I bought this from my longtime race sponsor, the John Gardner of Mount Hood Polaris. He had it sitting on a pallet at his place for several years, thinking he was going to get it built. I never did. So I bought it and restored it, got it running. It ran fine. Everything was good on it. It doesn't have the original carburetors on it, although I did have the original carburetors. I sent them with the sled. But one day a friend of mine contacted me and said, "Hey, I know a guy's looking for an 800 Starfire." I said, "Oh yeah." He goes, if you're interested, let me know." And this was about probably 2 years before I'd sold it. And then one day he finally told me who it was that was interested in it. It was Carolyn Eastman. And Bob, of course, was still with us then.
Sure.
So because it went there, I sold it, and only because it was going to the Eastman collection is the reason I did.
Yeah.
But I had to prove there was an 800, all these things. I had to take the motor apart, mic it, photograph it, document it, and all those things to before the sale would happen. And
Wow.
it checked out, and so it's in the Eastman collection right now.
That's cool. That's in a good home.
Yeah. That was I only got to run it. Well, I sent you a video on it. Maybe you can show that some other time at Yellowstone, running it around.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I rode it here in the yard a little bit. Got to hot lap it a little bit at Yellowstone when we had a four-cornered track there, our first racetrack there.
Yeah.
But other than that, so I think they got all the dust off it even now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then do I understand that this crate was designed to ship it to them? Is that what the crate was for?
Yeah, when I delivered it via a place in Spokane, it was a crate company. And we put that in a big old crate and padded it up, built it around that, and that's the crate that it got shipped in.
Wow. And it arrived safely and securely and everything?
Yeah. Yes. So, gosh, that was that's probably been 6 years ago now, maybe 7.
Sure. Is that Bob Eastman collection, is that available for people to go view? Is that open to the public, do you know?
Well, you know what? I was just going to ask that question myself. I'm not sure where it's at. I think it's viewable, but it may be by appointment. Right. I'm sure Bob probably had some outbuildings or something that he had some of his collection in.
Yeah.
But maybe somebody a lot wiser than me could answer that question.
Sure. Yeah. If anyone is viewing knows anything about that, whether or not the family is maintaining the collection or if it's been transferred to someone who's maintaining it, or if anyone viewing this knows anything about that, we'd love to hear it.
That would be, I'd like to know for sure. I'd like to see it.
For sure. In fact, I'd love to be in contact with the people that manage that collection see if they could maybe take some video that they could share with us that we could have on the podcast for all of us to enjoy.
Right.
And then I think you sent me some images also of some racing that's taking place today in the West.
Oh yeah, these are just from a couple on the bottom are from just 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Up at Priest Lake, or one's at Priest Lake. The Mercury's at Priest Lake, Idaho. The other one is from Sumter, Oregon. That was last year, actually, at Sumter. Up top is a couple of images from Priest Lake in 2020. Yeah, nice ice oval track there. That the mod class and the Yamaha Exciter class seem to be the two big classes on either end of the spectrum there for some reason, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's on the 69 Mercury. That's young Miss Sarah Storrow. Hi, Sarah.
Nice.
They're probably at the racetrack right now. The Storrows family, they're the main folks, Storrow Excavation, that prep the track up there and do all the hard work. Thanks to those guys for doing that hard work.
The Storrows family?
The Storrow family, yes.
Storrow. Good, yeah.
Ooro. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Good times there.
And then I think you've got some sleds in your personal collection.
Oh, yeah, that's my moto ski. I'm going to race that in 2 weeks up at Priest Lake. I
That'll be fun.
Put it on the track for kind of a photo op and see what happens.
That'll be fun, yeah.
That's my old F3. That's when it was had asphalt kit on it. I raced it on the asphalt a couple times like that. Best I ever got with that back in, 16 years ago was 117 on it.
Wow.
But now they're just running crazy speeds.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how fast they're going.
How did it feel at 117? Did it feel stable or was it kind of scary?
It felt really stable, but man, when that thing comes off the line, you better have a hold of the bars. It whole shotted like nothing I'd ever been on before.
Wow, you really got to hold on.
One time I did some roping on a horse. I did some calf roping, and that horse comes out of the chute. You need to be hanging on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then on the left, that's what, an Indy?
Yeah, that was a Pro 5 build sled. That was the one that Mike Sackett had. that my race sponsor, John Gardner, bought. I ended up buying it from another guy that he'd sold it to. And so it's still sitting here. It's not in asphalt trim anymore, though. I'm not doing asphalt anymore.
Gotcha.
So, I'd like to put it back on the ice someday.
Yeah. And am I getting ahead of myself with the slides, or do we need to go back to the other one? Or
nope, we're doing fine. How are we looking on time? We're good?
We're good. Yeah, we've got. We're anticipating Rob, but I don't see him in the waiting area yet. So we can go on for an extra few minutes here. And
that's 72 Starfire. That one was a special build for me because that was the guy that helped me put that together was Mike Hubenak. A lot of people know the name Ponytail Mike. A lot of Polaris guys bought chrome kits from him, but Mike did a ton of work on this sled with me, and I sure missed the guy.
Yeah,
that's that Merc from earlier when you saw me racing on that number 3. That's the Merc with a little different paint on it now.
Gotcha. Okay, that's the one you told me that you still have.
Yep, I got that one. So
nice. And then another shot of that, another angle of that motoski, and then this is what, an RXL on the right?
That's my RXL, yes, 78 RXL. That's a 340, just a super stock sled, but it's complete, runs, ready to go, and that's a trophy on the side there that was the Western States Vintage Sled of the Year in 2012. I won. So back then, all the clubs, we had 5 Western clubs, and of all the shows that each of the clubs would do, they'd have a winner of their show, their best of show. Well, then we took all the winners. This is one of the things Western States did. Took all the winners from all the shows, and there might be 30 sleds in it, 25 sleds in it. And then we put together a panel of representatives from all the clubs, and we would vote and choose the sled of the year for that year. So all the show winners, all into one pot, and chose a winner from that.
Wow.
And I think they're still doing that. The man that would be in charge of that's David Brummer. He's been kind of ramrodding the show. Now, Yellowstone last year, that didn't happen, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to continue. But they might have just took a year off. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Gonna haul up the motoski.
Yeah. Now I got to say, both of these sleds, the aesthetics on both of these sleds are just really impressive. And in layman's terms, that means these are hot-looking sleds. These are some of the hottest-looking sleds ever made, I think.
I've never oval raced an RXL.
No.
It's always one of my, just like many people, it's always one of their dream sleds to get. I was fortunate as heck to get it. There was a long list of folks that wanted it, and for some reason, I won that lottery, and restored it, and loved it ever since. It's going to be tough if I ever to get rid of it. I don't know if I will.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be in a hurry to if it were me.
No, I'm certainly not there.
Yeah, so. for sure.
But it hasn't been a show for 5-6 years now, so
okay,
you get the dust off it.
Well, good. Well, cool. So we were expecting Rob to come on, Rob the oil guy, to come on with some trivia questions. We don't have him on as yet. So what I think I'm going to do is switch gears and go into some announcements. And if you want to stay with us, Jim, we'll come out on the other side, and we're going to open things up for open line, where people can come on with their cell phone to do some show and tell. So if the viewers, anyone viewing this, if you've got some sleds nearby, vintage sleds or anything vintage related that you'd like to share with us for some show and tell with your cell phone, we'd love to have you on. In fact, in a moment, I'm going to post a link in the description that you can click on to do that very thing. But here are the guidelines. Here are the guidelines if you're thinking about coming on for some show and tell. Number one, it must be vintage related. We ask you to hold your camera horizontal for a wide shot. Keep it clean. No nudity, profanity, politics, religion, etc. It's okay to sell something, but it has to be vintage related. And number 5, of course, keep it positive. No bashing of people, businesses, etc. Now, I'm going to post the link in the description, but we do have Rob waiting for us in the waiting area. But I'll still ask you, Jim, if you'd like to hang out with us.
Certainly.
While we're doing the trivia questions with Rob. And right now I'm just posting the link for people to join us. So if you'd like to join us for some show and tell after we're finished with Rob, please come on and do that and just observe the guidelines that we were just talking about. So let's bring Rob on.
Hello
How you doing tonight,
there,
Rob?
Hi, Rob.
Hi there.
Hey, I love your snowmobiles. That's a nice collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, vintage shows out here are getting bigger.
Are they?
Yeah, we're growing. Even our vintage racing, more people are showing up.
Well, we've kind of done the opposite. Our vintage shows have kind of morphed into all the vintage racing. It's just incredible how the vintage racing is just on the rise.
Yes. Yeah.
Shows so much, but the racing.
Everybody wants to come out and see the old metal come out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah. In the East, it's on the rise as well. All of the shows are well attended, and there's a lot of new shows popping up too, and even those are well attended.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of it stems with who's in charge, who's doing what, who's got time to put these things together, because it takes a lot.
It takes a lot of effort for somebody to put an event on.
It is. Yeah. And an expense for the trophies and everything. And
yeah, we had a vintage over race last weekend, and this week we've lost the track now.
Wow.
It got so warm we can't even go out in the ice, and they're hoping to have another race in 2 weeks' time. So
we had that happen with our Glenwood, Washington event. It track was there, and then it wasn't.
Yep.
Wow. All right, so let's get into the trivia question. We're going to pop up the official trivia question graphic. This is Rob, the oil guy. Rob Hilditch is going to be doing a trivia question for us. Here's his information. He's an AMSOIL dealer. So if you're in need of some AMSOIL products, this is the guy to call or email. His number and email address is there on the screen. Plus, there is a link to his website in the description. So we do encourage you to patronize him. And let's go right into the trivia question. I'll let you ask the question, Rob.
Okay. When we started this question out first, we had a little bubble. There were some people that we thought that might have been in this category, but not. So maybe you can figure it out. We want to know what two pairs of brothers have won the Eagle River race in the pro class. Now, there's probably some people in the junior class that were brothers, but we're just doing the pros. And it's got to be two brothers. And we went back from day one right up till this year's. So if anybody can figure out that, send it them up. And we're going to put up a couple of prizes for the people. First, one of the prizes, we're going to send them.
Oh, let me change screens here so we can put that full screen. There we go.
There's one prize. We're going to mail one of the people a hat. And since it's still winter, the other person's going to get the AMSOIL toque.
Nice.
Nice.
And if anybody wants any decals, just send a message. We'll send you decals free.
Nice. Anyway. So anyone who knows the answer, we're going to ask you to leave the comments in the comment area. And we're going to go through after the end of the podcast and take all of the winners, and we're going to pick the top two out of the hat, so to speak. And those are the two people who are going to win the hats.
And we'll ship the prize right to you.
Absolutely. Wonderful. And then I'm going to pop your graphic up again. Let me just scroll over to it. So if you are in need of AMSOIL products, this is the guy to call or email. And you can also visit his website. There's a link in the description. We encourage you to patronize our good friend, Rob Hilditch, who's kind enough to come on here with some prizes and trivia questions. And we really appreciate that, Rob.
Okay. Good luck in answering those questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Rob.
Keep up the good job, Mike. We enjoy your show.
Well, thank you so much.
Nice
Thanks for coming on. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Cool deal. Well, that was a lot of fun. Very cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of answers we get on there.
Got anything yet?
Yes, we do. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but these are some of the comments. I think I know where he's going with that. It's a typo, but I know where he's going with that.
Yeah.
And cool deal. Yeah. So I'm not going to comment on that just yet. We want to let the comments come in, and the winners will be. Here's nice, cool deal. So the winners.
This could be onto something here.
Yeah, we're hoping to do this every week. I think this could be a lot of fun. And it's great for people to be able to get prizes watching this podcast. Well, cool. So I have to do a few quick announcements, and then we're going to open things up for the live show and tell. So I just have to get in the right spot here to pop these announcements on the screen. Here is the first one. This is the race schedule for the Central Minnesota Pond Racing Race Series. We're about halfway through it. but there's some racing this weekend and the next 3 weekends. It's a wonderful series. And also, if you want to view that online, you go to the Central Minnesota Pond Racing Facebook page, and they're going to be streaming it there live for you to enjoy. And then I'll be downloading that and playing a replay on all of the 8 places where this simulcasts. Also, there's a vintage snowmobile show at the Vermont State Fairgrounds in Rutland, Vermont, coming up on February the 19th. The next induction ceremony for the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame is Saturday, September the 10th, 1 p.m., Lancaster, New Hampshire at Crane's Snowmobile Museum. We hope you decide to join us for that. It gets bigger and better every single year. Also, I want to thank all of the people who have been ordering shirts, hoodies, mugs, magnets, stickers, posters with these logos. If you like these logos from yesteryear, if you enjoy these, click the link in the description and you can check out a whole selection of them, and you can have them have yourself made a t-shirt, a hoodie, a mug, a sticker, etc. And the prices are very reasonable. And I thank the people who have been ordering that. It really means a lot, and it helps to keep this program going, this podcast going, because there are expenses related to this, and it really helps to offset those expenses. Likewise with the DVD set. If you enjoyed last season as much as I did with all of the interviews that we did, bringing people on live, every single one of those interviews are available on a 2 DVD set. And if you buy the 2 DVD set within the next week or so, I'll include a 3rd bonus disc in there as a way of saying thank you for ordering. And I thank everyone who's been ordering the DVDs as well. It really helps to offset the expenses of this podcast. Also, March 12th, the Great North Woods Vintage Snowmobile Ride in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. This is a wonderful ride. They did their first one last year. They had hundreds of sleds, and they're expecting even more this year. It's a wonderful experience. And that's not the graphic I wanted. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to our good friend Dwayne Newman. Now, Dwayne Newman does the Vintage Polaris TXL Facebook group, and he's been having some difficulties with that, so he's created a new group, and there's a link to it in the description. I hope you'll decide to check it out. Or you can search at the bottom of the screen there. That's what you're going to search for, Vintage Polaris TXL TX. Search for that on Facebook. There are 2 groups. One has over 3,000 fans, and the other has over 200 fans. The new one is the one with 200. He's trying to build that back up and migrate some of the people from the other group over to the new one. And I believe that is it for announcements. I'm going to open things up here. Let me trying to get in the right place. All right, we're back with Jim. And I've posted the link for people to join us live. So if you have something you'd like to share with us in the way of show and tell on the podcast, all you need to do is click the link with your cell phone, and you can come on and join us and show us some vintage sleds, clothing, trophies, anything related to vintage snowmobiles. Now, here are the guidelines once again. It's got to be vintage related. We ask you to hold your camera horizontal for a wide shot. Please keep it clean, no nudity, profanity, etc. It's okay if something is for sale, but it must be vintage related, vintage snowmobile related. And of course, number 5, please keep it positive, no bashing of people, businesses, etc. And the link is in the description. If you've got something, if you're in a man cave right now and some vintage sleds, if you're right in front of some vintage sleds, we would love to see them. Click the link. We'll bring you on with your cell phone. And this is something that we can all enjoy. We're going to get into some comments here. Peter Chappell says Shabasky and Trap. And I'm not going to give anything away at this point. Peter Chappell says, good deal. Not going to comment just yet. Some of these I've popped on the screen already. Ronald Hawkins says, I have a few old cats. I would love to debut them on your show someday. Not quite ready yet. Thank you for thinking of me, Ronald. And when you are ready, please either message me before the podcast and we'll arrange something. Or, when we go live like this, just be ready when you're ready to do that. And we'd love to have you on. Now, also, our good friend Josh Gilbert is saying hello. Jim and I have a mutual friend, Josh Gilbert. He's the one who introduced us, and we owe him a big thank you and a big shout out for putting this all together and making this happen. We really appreciate that. So a big shout out to Josh Gilbert. And so we're waiting now for anyone who's bold enough to come on and do some show and tell for some sleds. anything vintage related you'd like to come on and share with us on your cell phone, we would love to see it. While we're waiting, I've got another video I'd like to play for you. In fact, let me change screens here. I'm going to skip ahead to item number 5, and if someone is waiting for us at the end of that video to do some show and tell, we're going to bring them on. We're going to look at some footage that Dirk Siems sent us from the Elk River, Minnesota Vintage Snowmobile Show, and it's going to take just a moment for me to cue that up. And all right, stand back, everyone. I'm about to roll the video.
Hello, good morning from Elk River, Minnesota. Got the static judging today of the event. Still got an hour or so for sleds to get lined up. So some of the classes are kind of sparse yet, but thought I'd take a quick walk through here before there gets to be so many people. It's hard to see the sleds, but there'll be at least twice as many sleds here yet. They kind of usually come thick and fast towards the end. The unrestored, this is the biggest class here, the classic survivors. So I don't know exactly what the qualifications are, but as time marches on, classic survivors start looking newer and newer, but a lot of nice looking sleds. 1992 to 2000 is the year specification. I'm not sure what else, if they can be touched up, repainted. I'm not sure. I think that they're pretty. I think when it's the survivors, I don't think you can do too much to them other than polish them. I guess I've never seen a headlight like that on an EXT before. Almost looks a little customish, or the windshield or something. So maybe they do allow some modifications, or that was an odd thing that I've just never seen before. That's possible too. Got Indy lineup here. 3 650s in a row. And we're getting back here to vintage unrestored. Skidoo and a moto ski in here, back when they were similar. And we got another big class coming up here. See, this is vintage unrestored. We have a rough here. Vintage 1973, 1975 unrestored. Pretty big turnout in this class here. Nice looking sleds. You got some sparkles going on with the old Stingerette. And some older survivors back here in the next row. So it says unrestored 70 to 72. Haven't seen anything super unique there. Here's restored 70 to 72. Go ahead. Lots of entries here. Nice looking sleds. Definitely see a lot of shininess over here in the restored lineup, that's for sure. A lot of background noise out, things moving around. Over here in 67 to 69 unrestored. Caribou, that's something I have seen before, but you don't see too often. I thought they took a Skidoo and put a blue hood on it, but I was listening to a guy in the swap meet, and he's no, not the case. He thinks they just had seen a Skidoo and started to make something that looked like a Skidoo, but didn't really have any common parts or interest as far as that guy goes. Now we're in the 376 front and rear engine restored. I'm not sure if they need to drive them to show them. I'd say at least 90% of them have driven into place, but they have been pulling a few with skids to get them into place. And most of these old rear engine ones, they drove them into place, so that's pretty neat to see. There's another Caribou. All I had to say was a rare sighting. Here comes another one. I gotta stop putting my glove on here. Let's see if I can do that without dropping the camera. Maybe I'll just pause for a minute. That's a good idea. Almost worked to get my mitten on in the pause position, but then I couldn't restart the video, so I have to fight my mitten on with my teeth there. Okay, no jet. Back into Survivor pre-72s. Mercury, Puma, nice shiny Scorpion Stinger. Get the old things that they were. And I'll try to get run over here. Vintage Race 74 newer, restored. Yep, I think they don't see a lot of action on these restored ones. They all look pretty cleaned up and kept clean. They do have some unrestored racers coming up here. 374 unrestored racers. The Adler over here, there was some information. I think there was only made like 34 or 35 of them, and this is one of 8 that he's aware of that's still in existence. Kind of a clunky looking old thing. It's right up in the running for the loudest sled competition too. Not much muffling going on there. There's some more restored vintage race. Good. Cross country racer restored. Only a couple so far in this category. Like I say, they'll be coming in. Definitely more entries, but it gets to be so many people, it's tough to take any video. So that I'd take this cruise through and see at least a portion of the sleds that'll be here. Now I'm entering into deer country over here. Feature sled of this event is anything John Deere. So there was a guy here from Illinois. I just saw him pull out, and he had like, I don't know, 8 or 10 restored John Deere's, the older ones. I don't know if he had like one of every model from a certain year. Had a custom trailer, but he had to get back to Illinois, so he rode him yesterday and showed him off a little bit, and then he headed home. So otherwise he'd have just about a whole class by himself, that guy would. And this is one of the most unique John Deere's I've ever stumbled across. I didn't even think it was a thing, but it sounds like they did make them. So sprint fire, but it's a liquid cooled. I guess I can zoom in here on the little things that they got written about that. And it sure looks odd to see a liquid cool engine sticking out the hood. Because of sprint fire, but I'd say that one probably, well, he's pulling up in the liquid cool class, so that must be a liquid cooled one as well. It just doesn't stick through the hood. Because yeah, where this lineup could be all liquid cooled sleds. I'm not sure where the radiator or heat exchangers are in that. Don't see anything on the running boards, and don't see any radiator. I don't know if they just rely on the track. How do they cool that sled? How do they cool that sled? There's no radiator?
Tunnel extractor.
Just the tunnel.
Yep.
Nothing else. Pardon?
This one has poles.
Okay.
Radiator and an extractor too.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, there. We're probably going to share this on a Vintage Snowmobile Lovers website there. So just thought I'd try to get a little information, since you looks like you probably know the answer to that. I've never seen one like this with the engine sticking out the hood, this liquid. That's an odd looking thing.
That should be like a sprint fire.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got some information on it here. Well, it sounds like just an odd duck. It sounds like maybe came out the back door of the factory or something. I've never seen one before. That's kind of the only sled that I ran across today. I've never seen one before.
Maybe he just cut that out, or this is a hood from.
Well, it says though on here, it says it's the number 80 of 126. So it'll be interesting to visit with him, and like you say, maybe came out the side door of the factory, I'm thinking. Yeah. All right, have a good day. There's some little free airs here. That's a little more common sighting for the older John Deere sleds. Unrestored 76 to 78. I'm sure a lot of these John Deere guys, they're all sitting over in the trailer telling John Deere stories. I'm sure this will get filled in a lot in the next hour or so. I might take a quick cruise through here again. Well, that's definitely a long enough video for now, and I'm going to jump out here and let my fingers warm back up. So again, I'm in Elk River, Minnesota, and not too bad a day today. Could be a little bit warmer, a little bit sunnier, but it's tolerable. So we'll maybe get a wide angle shot from up in the hill a little bit when we get more sleds in here.
And there we go. Yeah, so thank you so much to Dirk Siems for that footage. That's some really nice footage from that show in Elk River. And while we were waiting, Jim, we do have Richard Brazo in the waiting area, waiting to come on, and I've been viewing his camera here. He's got some really cool stuff to show us, so let's not waste any more time.
Yep.
Bring him on. How you doing, Richard?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, Richard.
Hi. How you doing, Jim?
Very well.
This is my snowmobile room down in my house, in my basement.
Yeah.
Mainly all Skidoo stuff.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, TNT.
I got a citation here. This is kind of a newer one. That's an 88. I just bought that this week.
Yeah, nice.
It's really mint. It's a really nice sled. So I've been going over that one. And then I got a little back room over here. I got a Olympic back here, 71 or 70 And I got an 81 Citation SS.
Yeah, I love those.
And then I got a 79 Everest.
Yeah.
They all run good. I got probably another 4 of them in my garage outside that I ride and drive and take to shows and do everything with.
Nice. And you get a lot of nice swag over there too, with hats and posters and so forth.
Yeah, my mom and dad raced back in the early 70s.
Yeah.
As you can see, some of the pictures of the Polarises that they raced. My dad had a dealership.
Yeah.
That's me with the Star Car.
Star Car, yeah. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
There's part of his racing team. And right here's my mom with all her trophies and everything that she raced in 1971 at 439 there.
Very nice.
You don't have that sled.
I wish I did.
Yeah, that would be great.
My dad then switched over to Skidoo. That's why I'm kind of a Skidoo fan right now. He had a Blizzard right there. 72,
go, yeah.
and then he raced the 71 before that, Mod 1. And then stock class, he was racing the Elan, believe it or not.
Oh, no kidding, yeah.
And he's racing against some Chaparrals there.
Yeah.
So, so I've been into snowmobiling a long time in my life. I spent a lot of time at the racetrack with everyone, and then I just started racing myself, and so I've been in it for a while.
Beautiful.
Looks like it.
Had a lot of old helmets here.
Yeah.
You might have bought a couple of those from me.
Yeah. And just a lot of clothing, I guess.
Yeah, nice. I remember those suits from back in the day. Very cool. The Mr. Blizzard suit. Was it Mr. Ski-Doo, the guy that looked like Robert Redford?
Yeah. He had that. This is actually the only Skidoo one. The only one that's not a Skidoo one is this one, but there's just lots of them stacked on top of each other. They don't have a whole lot of room down here yet right now, but I have permission from my wife to make this into another room here.
Nice.
Which is my storage room, but we're going to find some other place for the other stuff. So
there you go.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So
I got to say, your wife is a keeper if she's open to that. You know, that not all wives are open to that.
The one thing that I've learned through the years is that I bought her this 81 Citation that she brings to shows.
Yeah.
She gets first place with it quite a bit. And she has more clothing than I do of all the vintage stuff.
Nice.
I keep buying clothing for her. She likes dressing up in it for all the old shows and stuff. And there's just numerous ones here. These are all Skidoo ones through the years.
Nice. So she has just as much fun at these shows as you do, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she enjoys it. And
awesome.
At least that's the way I see it. I don't know if she does or not, but
yeah.
There's the trophies of some of the trophies that my mom and dad won through the years.
Very nice.
A
lot of memories there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff there. So, but yeah.
Just a comment about that 81 Citation, that 4500. My dad had one exactly like that when I was a teenager. Yeah. And that was a fun sled. You could really hang the tail out on that.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
They're actually fun to drive. They're really comfortable to drive. So this thing is clean inside out.
Nice.
I actually bought this in Michigan a few years ago over in Holland. So
yeah.
And here's the free air, my 340 75 free air.
TNT, yeah.
Trying to do this with one hand.
Sure. Where are you located, Richard?
Just north of Green Bay, about 40 miles north of Green Bay.
Yeah, Wisconsin. Good.
Yep. Over by just, yeah. So that's one of my 3 years I got.
Very nice. Richard Hawkins says that's inspiration, and I have to agree.
Yeah, I don't have room for everything in here right now. I got another shop in town, and I got 2 of the race sleds there.
Yeah.
That I have on display with some other stuff. My dad's 86 years old, and he still enjoys snowmobiling. Here's a picture of him.
Oh, no kidding.
That's my grass dragger.
Yeah.
Look at there.
And then there's the old racer, that moto ski.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sonic.
And there's my mom on that RXL with her original jacket and helmet that she's wearing in that other picture that I had up over here I showed you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still had the helmet and the jacket that she was wearing.
Wow.
So
That is very cool.
so it's kind of in my blood, with all the vintage stuff and everything. So my staircase going upstairs, I got a lot of pictures up over here and just different things going up with Skidoo stuff.
Yeah, vintage ads and stuff.
Yeah, and then
Stuff, isn't it?
I got the motorcycle stuff on this side, but so
Do you have any Can-Ams?
What's that?
Do you have any Can-Ams?
I do not have any Can-Ams, no.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
So
Rob
okay.
Hilditch is asking what shows that you go to, Richard. What shows do you take those to?
Well, I go to anything in Wisconsin, usually in the northeast Wisconsin. This year I'm not hitting as many as I really wanted to, but I know I'm going to the one in Chase. That's at the end of January. And then there's a little another one over by Shoe Pond. It's called. That's the beginning of March. I usually hit as much as I can. My son races ski racing, so my schedule this year is a little cramped, so I don't have a lot of time to do the shows, but
Sure.
there's always something going on.
Yeah.
But I like to go during the summer.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of them around the summer, and I actually like doing that too. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. And someone was making a comment hoping that that's a walkout basement.
it is right there. Yep. There's my
Awesome.
doors right
Oh,
there.
there we
go
go.
out.
Nice. Easy
How
in
you
and
get-
out.
Yeah.
It's funny they
I got
say
the
that
double-
because it's funny they say that because back in the day we had some neighbors who had a bulkhead to go in and out of their basement, and I used to go over there as well as some other friends, and we used to take a citation in and out of there up and down that bulkhead every spring and fall. It was the first year of the citation, the 78.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We would take that up and down those stairs every year. But it's funny. It reminded me of that when they said that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. That would be a little tough with all these snowmobiles.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The old one back here, I can actually fit that through a lot of doorways. This one,
Oh, wow.
that thing's pretty narrow. You can get that through a pretty narrow doorway, but then they get wider as you go on.
As time went on. Yeah.
The RV is probably about the widest one down here right now. Well, I suppose this other one I just bought too, but
Yeah. Nice.
so all right.
Well,
Well,
good. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, Richard. And I believe I recognize your name. You're a regular viewer, correct?
I am. I've been wanting to come on for a while. It just depends on what I have down in the basement here, and what I have, what I don't have in the trailer, and what I have. So, just happen to have some down here right now. So, I was happy to come on. I appreciate that.
Well, likewise, we appreciate that as well. It's wonderful to see everything you've got there. And if ever you're at watching the podcast from your other location where the other sleds are, by all means, come on and give us a look at those as well. We'd love to see them.
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime, or maybe I could rotate some other ones down in here sometime and see what we can do.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Richard. Really appreciate it. It was nice to meet you.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mike.
Bye,
All
Richard.
righty. Have a nice evening.
Okay. Bye, Jim.
All right.
Nice
Well,
stuff down in the basement. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure. That is a nice collection. He's got a nice collection of stuff there. And well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, it has come to that time. We do have to wrap it up. Once we get to the top of the hour here, people start coming upstairs to go to bed. So that's my time to wind down the podcast. But I appreciate all of the viewers for tuning in tonight and watching this, and I especially appreciate Jim for coming on to be our guest tonight and sharing all of those images with us.
Well, appreciate it. Couple real quicks. Elgin, Oregon, race this weekend. Don't forget XMR on Colorado. Those guys are doing some racing. And hi, Judy Rinaldi.
Yes, a mutual friend. Yeah, she's an amazing.
I saw her
person.
race back in '78 at Yellowstone.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
All right,
Well,
Mike.
cool.
Well, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a nice evening. We'll catch you on the other side. Last word, as always, goes to our friends at Mad Rams. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today we're going to be talking about AMSOIL, and in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your AMSOIL products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what AMSOIL is and why you should consider using AMSOIL products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. AMSOIL is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses AMSOIL for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that AMSOIL is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because AMSOIL doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And AMSOIL likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of AMSOIL is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, AMSOIL says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the AMSOIL bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the AMSOIL. AMSOIL's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero.
Wow.
If you ever tried petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So AMSOIL is an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running AMSOIL than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And AMSOIL is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that AMSOIL has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the AMSOIL experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
AMSOIL has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, AMSOIL will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. AMSOIL sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering AMSOIL. Is that correct?
It is.
Wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an AMSOIL order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer discount, or sorry, preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to amsoil.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, amsoil.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the Preferred Customer Program page, where you can take advantage of all of these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the Preferred Customer Program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click Add to Cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click View Cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order. That gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the Signature Series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click Checkout Now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an AMSOIL account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to AMSOIL. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike LaPierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for AMSOIL under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your AMSOIL Preferred Customer Program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a Vintage Snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the Vintage Snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters "free DVD requests," so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering AMSOIL as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from AMSOIL, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from AMSOIL. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the AMSOIL marketing plan. AMSOIL has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods, we have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure, for sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing AMSO for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with AMSOIL. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate AMSOIL leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes, yes. And just by wearing my AMSOIL hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about AMSOIL.
Wonderful.
People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the products.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
AMSOIL's a fun business. AMSOIL's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the AMSOIL products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the AMSOIL products or to join the AMSOIL team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.
It's the ultimate combination of simplicity and ingenuity. The newest way to load, unload, and transport your ATV or UTV. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Made in the USA and engineered for strength and durability. Maneuver through tight places and over rugged terrain with plenty of ground clearance. No licensing, no ongoing maintenance costs, and no storage hassles like trailers. Won't slip or move like conventional ramps. Free up more cargo space in the bed of your truck. Securely connects to your truck's receiver hitch. Easily extends for safe loading and unloading. Seamlessly retracts for highway and off-road travel. DOT approved in all 50 states and Canada. Quickly disconnects in under a minute. A unique space-saving storage system. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Go farther. Go faster. Go safer.
When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs. When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs.